Close your eyes and imagine sitting in a stadium with thousands of passionate football fans, watching your favorite team play in the 2022 World Cup. It's all fun on your side, but just how much money goes into making this experience happen? Qatar is splashing hundreds of billion dollars on the tournament, which is set to be the most expensive World Cup in history, beating Brazil's record. How expensive is the World Cup, and how does the tournament affect Qatar citizens and the participating countries? Get in here, sports fans and lovers of high luxury. Let's take you on a roller coaster of football passion, luxury, and a $220 billion dream. The FIFA World Cup is an international association football competition for senior men's national teams that belong to the Federación Internacional de Football Association, the sport's global governing body. It is the biggest and most anticipated football tournament, with half the world's population viewing it. In 2006, the FIFA World Cup had an estimated cumulative viewership of 26.29 billion, and an estimated 715.1 million people watched the final match, accounting for 1/9 of the world's population. Every 4 years, football teams all over the world compete for the prestigious World Cup. The host country is usually chosen about 7 years before the tournament to guarantee adequate preparations. For this year's event, Qatar was chosen as the host back in 2010, giving them 12 years to prepare. The budget is usually expensive, and for the past 70 years, Brazil held the record for the most expensive FIFA World Cup hosting, with $15 billion. This year, Qatar is playing host to 32 participating countries, making them the first country in the Middle East to host the tournament. They've even constructed a temporary venue that can seat 40,000 people, the first of its kind. This year's World Cup is the biggest so far for many reasons, one of which is the reason for this video. First, the team will battle for the $42 million prize sponsored by FIFA. I know Cristiano Ronaldo's net worth is 10 times bigger than the prize money, but this is the highest World Cup prize money in history. Secondly, the host country is splurging $220 billion on this year's tournament. Undoubtedly, the tournament will be seen as a landmark event on Qatar's road to nationhood. But what exactly are the costs behind it? Here's a look at some of the biggest expenses. The Qatar Stadia. Years ago, Qatar would have been considered unfit to host a World Cup. So, after they won the bid to host, the country set aside a lot of money to construct the best stadiums and leave a legacy in World Cup history. The 2022 World Cup will be held in 8 stadiums built by Qatar to prepare for the event. These 8 sophisticated and contemporary stadiums can seat 40,000 to 80,000 people and are centered in the Doha region, the country's capital and urban center. The facilities were built with sustainability in mind, since Qatar believes so much in the concept. What went into the design of these stadia, and how much was spent? The Lusail Stadium. The Lusail Stadium is Qatar's largest and the Middle East's largest stadium. The 80,000 capacity stadium is 15 kilometers north of central Doha and is accessible via the Lusail QNB metro line. The Lusail Stadium was designed by British architects Foster & Partners and Populous. The design is inspired by the handcrafted bowls found throughout the Arab and Islamic world during the rise of civilization. The 307-meter diameter spoke-wheel cable net roof on the Lusail Stadium holds the record of the world's largest tensile cable net roof. 4 towers are built around a central plaza at the end of the commercial boulevard that connects the football stadium to the Corniche. These towers will serve as the focal point of the city's new commerce district. According to reports, it cost $767 million to build the Lusail Stadium, and it earned a 5-star rating for its design and construction from the Global Sustainability Assessment System (GSAS). After the tournament, the Lusail Stadium will be reconfigured into a 40,000-seat stadium, with excess seats removed and other parts of the structure repurposed as a community space with shops, cafes, athletic and education facilities, and a health clinic. The Al Bayt Stadium. 35 kilometers from Doha, Qatar mounted a retractable roof football stadium named the Al Bayt Stadium. The 60,000 capacity arena was inspired by Qatar's nomadic people's Bayt al-Sha'ar. Inside the tent structure is an ultra-modern football stadium, which would be converted into a 32,000-seat stadium after the tournament. Surrounding the stadium are numerous parks, lakes, and a protected green belt stretching from the stadium to the sea, ensuring that the world's most welcoming stadium leaves a lasting legacy. The stadium reportedly cost $847 million and gained sustainability accreditation for green design, construction management, and energy efficiency in 2020. Al Janoub Stadium. The Al Janoub Stadium was designed by the Iraqi-British architect Zaha Hadid and the company AECOM. It has a curved postmodernist and neo-futurist aesthetic with a retractable roof. The roof's design was influenced by the sails of traditional dhow boats that local pearl divers used to navigate the Persian Gulf currents. A multi-purpose room, swimming pools and spas, and a retail mall with green roofs are all part of the sports complex. To complement the Al Janoub Stadium, a school, wedding hall, cycling, horse riding, and jogging tracks, restaurants, marketplaces, and gyms are erected nearby. In case you were wondering, the 40,000 capacity stadium cost about $656 million to renovate. Al Thumama Stadium. The chief architect of the Arab Engineering Bureau, Ibrahim Jaida, took inspiration from the traditional taqiyya hat, a traditional cap worn by men and boys across the Middle East, to design the Al Thumama Stadium. The stadium hosted 6 matches at the 2021 Arab Cup and the US-Iran group play for the World Cup. After the tournament, half of the stadium seats will be removed and donated to other countries. It cost a whopping $342 million to build this arena. The Education City Stadium. Nicknamed the Diamond in the Desert, Education City Stadium is located within several university campuses at the Qatar Foundation's Education City. The stadium is one of the most environmentally sustainable stadiums in the world, with green elements accounting for 20% of its construction components. The facade of the stadium features triangles that form complex, diamond-like geometrical patterns that appear to change color with the sun's movement across the sky. Building this masterpiece cost $700 million and, as you guessed, it obtained a 5-star rating from GSAS. The Khalifa International. The Khalifa International Stadium is Qatar's national stadium and the World Cup's oldest site. It is a multi-purpose stadium located in Doha, Qatar, as part of the Doha Sports City complex. The Khalifa International Stadium was the first in the world to achieve a 4-star grade from the Global Sustainability Assessment System. It was opened in 1976 and has been the home of Qatari soccer ever since. Between 2014 and 2017, the stadium was renovated in preparation for the World Cup. The restoration cost $374 million, according to reports. Stadium 947. Stadium 947 was named after the number of recycled shipping containers used for its construction. Don't let the manufacturing material fool you. This stadium is expensive. It is the first temporary venue in FIFA World Cup history and the only World Cup stadium without air conditioning. This isn't because they were cutting costs, but because its innovative design and waterfront location allows for natural ventilation. Facilities, including restrooms and food stands, are located within some shipping containers. The shipping containers and seats will be removed and donated to other underdeveloped countries worldwide. The Ahmad bin Ali. To create room for the new World Cup-ready Al Rayyan Stadium, the old Ahmed bin Ali Stadium was demolished in 2015. The renovation included a large media facade with a membrane that will act as a screen for projections, news, commercials, sports updates, current tournament information, and games. The number of seats increased from 20,000 to 40,000, and each has a shade. On November 21st, the United States will play its opening group play match against Wales at Ahmed bin Ali. The Qatar Stadia only cost $6.5 billion, or $10 billion as some say. So what happened to $210 billion? This means that much of the infrastructure costs associated with the World Cup are part of the country's larger Qatar 2030 plan, which includes the construction of hotels, sophisticated underground transportation, stadiums, and airports. Qatar has constructed 5-lane highways, built a $36 billion metro system, and undergone extensive road construction. A new airport and roughly 100 new hotels have also been erected. So, we can say that a whole city has been built around the stadium that will host the championship game. In 2008, Qatar announced its National Vision project to transform the nation into an advanced society capable of maintaining its growth and providing a high quality of life for its people. To them, sports would be one of the key pillars of this new society. This explains why they bid to host the World Cup 2022 and the 2011 AFC Asian Cup. Qatar Airways also paid $163 million to sponsor FC Barcelona's shirts, and the Qatari Travel Authority made direct investments in Paris Saint-Germain, totaling more than $1.08 billion. All this investment was geared towards incorporating sports into their country, but with great success comes great controversies because soon after the dust cleared on Qatar's World Cup bid, suspicions of financial mismanagement surfaced. In 2011, Jack Warner, a former vice president of FIFA, released emails stating that the AFC president Mohammed bin Hammam had bought the rights to win the bid. In 2014, the Sunday Times revealed that Mohammed bin Hammam gave $5 million to football authorities in exchange for backing the Qatari candidacy. In 2020, the US Department of Justice charged 3 South American politicians for accepting bribes to get votes for Qatar. Of course, Qatar has denied these allegations, but there are more reasons people are raising their eyebrows about Qatar's extravagant World Cup hosting. And it's not about money, but the well-being of the construction workers. According to the government of Qatar, 30,000 foreign workers were explicitly employed to construct the stadiums. If they spent only $6.5 billion to build such mega projects, it only means the employees weren't well paid. Since 2010, Qatar has faced widespread criticism from human rights organizations for treating immigrant workers poorly. Amnesty International accused them of using forced labor for the Khalifa International Stadium. The kafala system ties migrant workers to a specific employer or sponsor, who then monitors them and is usually responsible for their visa and legal status. The Guardian newspaper claimed in February 2021 that 6,500 migrant laborers from India, Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka had died in Qatar between 2010 and 2020. According to human rights experts, most victims were in the country specifically for the World Cup. Although Qatar has made some modest labor reforms in recent years, Amnesty International insists that human rights abuses persist significantly today. There's no way to sugarcoat it. Hosting a World Cup is expensive, but a $220 billion budget may be over the top. Some even call it wasteful. But as far as Qatar is concerned, that is the price you pay to make a mark in the world of sports.